but as we all know as practitioners, 90% of strategy is execution. And the way things have been executed in Saudi Arabia, mashallah, all indices are well ahead of where the kingdom needed to be in 2030. So I think we have a lot to learn. We are very grateful to his team, especially with respect to our export-led growth. And I think that is going to be very, very critical. And I'm sure everyone in the room there from PBC and Overseas Chamber would agree that that is one of our binding constraints as we grow and move towards sustainable, inclusive growth in the country. So the other thing I just wanted to mention that yesterday the cabinet formally approved the historical security pact, which was signed by His Royal Highness, Excellency the Crown Prince, and Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif. So I think that's sort of moved in the right direction, and what that means is what we have at this point in time in Pakistan is a confluence of factors where we have macro stability and we have tailwinds from a geopolitical front. From Saudi Arabia, a long-standing partner which has helped us through thick and thin. China, which has been an ironclad relationship, and the US, which is now on board with respect to the trade and investment flows. So ladies and gentlemen, my point is, at this point in time, we have a great opportunity, and therefore the visit of the Saudi delegation is very timely, where we can now really step up in terms of inviting, but equally, as Abdul Aleem Khan Sahab said, making sure that our existing investors also work in a good environment and we don't go through the boom and bust cycles which we've seen in the previous years. I'm just going to mention a couple of other things before turning to the event at hand. With respect to the floods, we have now sort of the rapid assessments which are coming through from the federal ministries, but also from the provinces. At this point in time, in terms of the assessment which has come in, we are quite clear, and the Prime Minister and the Cabinet is quite clear, that we are going to repurpose what we have in terms of our existing resources. As we move towards a more in-depth post-damage need assessment, things might move where we might have to require external help, but at this point in time, we would want to use our own resources in terms of rescue, relief, and as we move towards rehabilitation and reconstruction, as I said, post-PDMA, we might move towards external help. The other thing I just want to mention is around IMF. You have seen the press release when the mission left last night, the night before, and as you've seen, we've had very constructive engagement with the mission here. We have a few outstanding issues. From my perspective, no showstoppers. So we will continue these discussions virtually tonight into the weekend, and hopefully early week when the Governor, Finance Secretary and myself are in Washington, we hope to get moving with the staff level agreement. Now to the event at hand. Your Highness, I can say without any doubt whatsoever, you are among the best and the brightest which the business leadership has to offer in Pakistan. not because, as I just mentioned, that I had the privilege of being the chairman of Pakistan Business Council and to be associated with Overseas Chamber, but I genuinely believe in that. And I think you will see as the morning progresses that the talk and the discussion will not only focus on the key sectors, Your Highness, that you mentioned during your meeting with the Prime Minister in terms of your areas of interest and mutual interest, whether it's agriculture, whether it's mining, whether it's IT, whether it's pharma, whether it's tourism. But what you will see here is thought leadership. Because I've had, again, the privilege of working with most, if not all, the ladies and gentlemen in the room and whoever might be on the joining virtually, that they will come up with schematics, which I think is going to be very important, that as we and you hone into specific project opportunities, just thinking through the broad spectrum, and therefore, you will see and hear from some of the thought leaders with respect to some of these schematics, whether it's our digital journey, which is being very important, because, Your Highness, there are two areas which the Prime Minister is leading himself and does stock taking on a weekly basis. One is our taxation reform and everything that is going on in terms of people, process, technology to get the sort of the fiscal side of things moving forward, because all the business leaders who are sitting here, they are correct in terms of the additional burden that they face in terms of the formal sector, because other segments of the society are not stepping up the way they need to. And therefore we need to fix that equation through primarily technology, but also simplifying the processes and making the necessary people changes. And the second one, which he's leading, Your Highness, is our digital journey and moving towards cashless economy, because both of these are actually interrelated. We have an economy which is the size of $411 billion, but to put it in perspective, about 40 to 50% of our economy is still undocumented. So if you think about it, actually the size of our economy is already reaching close to $1 trillion. So the more we move towards the cashless economy and our digital journey, the more we sort of help the documentation and moving stuff into the formal economy. So Your Highness and the delegation, I leave it with you and the thought leaders from Overseas Chamber and the Pakistan Business Council. I wish you all well, and Your Highness, safe travels here in Pakistan. I know you're traveling to Lahore later today. I'm sure you'll receive fantastic welcome there as well, and look forward to seeing the delegation, inshallah, with the Prime Minister when we are there in Riyadh for the FII. With that, my very best wishes to everyone and for constructive engagement for the rest of the morning. Thank you very much.
वफाकी वज़ीर ख़ज़ाना मोहम्मद औरंगज़ेब का सऊदी सरमायाकारों और ओवरसीज़ चैम्बर ऑफ कॉमर्स से वर्चुअल खिताब आपने मुलाहिज़ा किया।